Cross check by Bedard. He's got a breakaway. Bedard scores! What a goal by Connor Bedard!
You know, I wasn't going to make this video, but I feel like I have to. Over the last few seasons, no one has had quite the hype of Connor Bedard, a talent so special that everyone knew his name before he could legally drive. With that comes an unbelievable amount of pressure, expectations, and comparisons. After what was a great rookie year, winning the Calder, putting up 61 points in 68 games, it was followed by some regression in year 2. Again, the individual statistics weren't horrible in terms of goals and assists, but the Blackhawks as a team were. Firmly in the basement of the NHL yet again, people looked at Bedard's career minus 80, his brutal faceoff percentage, and suspect play in the D zone. People started questioning whether the hype was warranted. Throw in being called out on national television for his play, and another young Canadian phenom excelling in the very same area as Bedard struggles in, the hype around him being deemed a generational superstar quickly died down. Some people even went far enough to call him a bust. Yeah, I don't think so, pal, but the hesitation to believe what everyone's hyped him up to be is somewhat fair. We made a video this offseason that took a deep dive into his game, what needed to improve, and where he's truly still one of a kind. The expectations coming into this season was just progress. It couldn't be another year of being garbage or staying status quo. And so far, Connor Bedard has come into the season with a vengeance. Just the numbers alone. He's got 10 goals, 16 assists, and 26 points, and is among the top 5 in NHL scoring. And perhaps most importantly, the Blackhawks as a whole look pretty competitive. So what's changed in Bedard's game? Well, Chicago did hire a new coach in Jeff Blashill, which we'll get to why is important later, but the first and most noticeable change in Bedard's game is speed. Here are Bedard's 18, 20, and 22 mile-per-hour speed bursts from his rookie year. You'll notice that the top-end speed wasn't exactly there, as he ranked in the 59th percentile in 22 mile-per-hour plus speed bursts. Last year, he didn't even reach that gear once, and there was a bit of a drop-off in his overall higher-end speed also. This season, however, he's noticeably quicker, and the numbers match that, as he's in the 95th percentile or higher in all speed burst categories so far this season. Last year, despite the lack of high-end speed, Bedard was still among the best in the game at creating controlled entries with possession. This is a testament to his IQ of the game and being able to facilitate off of speed changes, delays, and east-west movement to create unique gaps for himself and his teammates. However, speed still kills more than anything, especially when used wisely. The difference visually in his giddy-up this year is staggering to watch. I think these two plays are very similar in his route and approach, swinging onto the puck and then carrying it into the zone from year 1 to year 3, which is right now. This entry is from his rookie year, and you can still see he's got the speed and confidence to drive the zone entry, but I think more frequently now what we're seeing is a biggest difference in this pocket of possession right here. Bedard takes probably the most efficient path to beat the back pressure here by moving in a straight line. But from a deception standpoint and even a speed standpoint, that's a bit easier to defend as opposed to this. At least I'm noticing this a lot more in his touches, but you'll see a lot of what we call linear crossovers with Bedard on these entries. If you don't know, linear crossovers are essentially when a player uses multiple crossovers while maintaining a straight line up the ice. Not only does it allow you to build more speed, but it creates more deception as you frequently change the angle of your attack. There's no one better at executing this very skill than Nathan MacKinnon, in my opinion. Half the reason why defenders shit themselves when he comes down on them is because he's constantly using these linear crossovers to attack. Defenders can't tell which way he's going, and with every step, he's building more and more speed. With Bedard this season, he's got way more pop out of these crossovers. I don't know, he probably had a few broccolis in the summer to get stronger and faster, but he's become far more deceptive in the process also. Watch him here. He starts his possession with 3 crossovers right away. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Now he's built speed, but he's still met by an Ottawa team that's in good shape and structure up the ice. But because Bedard keeps pumping with these linear crossovers, this F1 thinks he's going to keep pumping to the right side. Nope, he shifts left, beats the F1 and F2 before they can squeeze him off with an explosive crossover into the space. And because he's built all this speed prior to his entry, look at that gap that Ottawa's defenders have given at the blue line now. He's got him right where he wants him, gets wide. This defender is lunging fully extended. Bedard at this point is salivating. He pulls out the special toe drag release. See on the highlight reel, pal. Thanks for coming out. Not only has this speed given Bedard another gear to beat defenders with, but the threat alone buys him more time and respect from defenders on entries. If you gap up at the wrong time, he will beat you wide. Give him space, and he's pulling up looking for the best available option. This is why he now ranks third amongst all fours this season when it comes to zone entries on the year. Now, the first thing we heard about Bedard when he came into the league was the kid's shot. And as we just saw, this thing is a nuclear weapon on its own. He changes angles so well and so frequently out of his load-up, goalies and defenders flat out don't have an answer for it. But what I think has been Bedard's best attribute this season and allowed him to take his and the Hawks game to another level is his playmaking. As we make this right now, Connor Bedard leads all NHL players in primary assists. I'd imagine Hockey Canada showed repeats of Scott Stevens highlights to Bedard and Celebrini when they were kids to scare them into never having their head down. That's because anytime you watch either one of these two players with possession of the puck, their eyes are always up scanning for options. This right here is a prime example from Bedard and is more about awareness than anything else. So as he builds up speed in his own end, his head is up the entire time. He's going to take 4 scans, both to his left and right, to survey all of his options before he even gets to the O-zone. And even on the last one, knowing he's got support coming, he damn near breaks his neck to double check and make sure the support is still there. It's not a blind pass that he's zipping over. Instead, it's perfection. Give the kid another apple right there. Even when attempting these so-called risky cross-seam passes, look at him scan before to know where all the threats lie, and then he zips a no-looker across the seam for a goal. Just unbelievable vision. Now, because his shot is so lethal, he's automatically a dual threat whenever he has the puck. When he's in this load-up position like this, he can either pull it into his body and let one rip, or he can make a play with a pass. Because his shot threat is so respected by goalies and defenders, naturally, it's opened up a lot of opportunities for him to move the puck. We're seeing how effective this is firsthand on the power play with Bedard on the right flank. Killers and goalies are hyper-focused on taking away the Bedard shot, so they're parking Tyler Bertuzzi on that far post, working as a backboard for the tap-in. Really, it works on either side of the flank as well, and it's nearly impossible to stop. They can even swing Bedard higher on the flank to get the Killers to shift higher in the zone and leave the man on the goal line all alone. By the end of the season, Bertuzzi is going to owe Bedard a lot of beers when he can legally drink them for how many backdoor tap-ins he's getting in right now. However, Bedard driving the power play is a big reason why it's top 10 in the NHL right now. Finally, I do want to talk about his defensive game. I know it's been a sore spot ever since he's come into the league, but this year, he's definitely improved. I think one of his underrated skills is stealing pucks. If you watch a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with Bedard, especially with Sherwood, we know he's got a deceptively long stick, which he prefers so that his angle changes are more pronounced. However, it also comes in very handy when disguising a poke check or angling off attackers. The best example is his goal against Calgary. Watch him turn over his blade here to hook the puck towards him instead of just poking it loose. Disgusting tap in between the legs as well to get it out of his feet and then stay for the show for the nasty little bit of work right there. Because he's smaller, guys aren't expecting that long stick to come out of nowhere at times, and he's so damn good at hiding his poke to catch players by surprise. Because Bedard is a cerebral player and he understands the game really well offensively, defending rushes is probably where he's most comfortable. His speed and awareness usually has him anticipating the play really well to pick off a puck. There are still challenges though, which is why analytically his defensive numbers aren't great yet. Bedard's speed is crucial to the Blackhawks, and it usually starts with him winding it up early in the zone so that he arrives on the puck with speed. But when there's a 50-50 puck inside the blue line like this, they still probably want him to be a little bit more selective in how and when he takes off, because if it doesn't get through, it could lead to a chance against, and they don't have numbers back. Defending down low still also presents its challenges as a smaller player on a younger team. You still got size mismatches, and picking up on coverage switches is still a work in progress. But there's much improvement as Chicago is a top 5 team in the league in goals against. Spencer the Dark Knight is a big part of that, but the Hawks are still defending a lot better as a 5-man unit, which is credit to Jeff Blashill. Biggest improvement for Bedard defensively, though, is his face-offs. Coming into the season, his career face-off percentage was 38.3%. This year, it's up to 46.7%. It's still not great, but it is a massive improvement. It's something that usually comes with experience and strength. However, because he's winning more face-offs, Chicago is starting to play with possession instead of without it. And if you want to be a better defensive team, having possession is a good start. Right now, what we're seeing out of Connor Bedard is exactly what was advertised. Yes, he does have a little bit more help around him this year, which is important, but leading the charge is Bedard himself. He came into this year saying that he and the Hawks weren't going to take shit from anyone, and in every facet of his game, he's living up to those words. The Bedard-Celebrini debate is one that we're going to have for years to come, but if both of these players continue their play this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they're both representing their country come February. So, what do you think of Bedard's game? Who do you think is better, Bedard or Celebrini? You can check out our Celebrini breakdown in our last video right here. And if you want to make sure you're up to date on all things NHL, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a thing.